Now we're probably making one group of models that we use either in London or in Asia. In this area right here. So all of the pickups are wound to the same specs that they used to. We've even got the pickup wire coated so it looks exactly like the wire did back in the 50s. Originally the wire was this dark color because it had an enamel coating on it. The wire has to have a coating on it so when it's laying on top of each other it doesn't short out. So we want. So again, that attention to detail is something that a lot of it the customers don't see, and it's, you know, we need your help of it to get that information out there. So things like on a vintage Strat pickup, we're still using cloth-covered wire for the lead wires coming out of it. I mean, it's getting to the point it's getting very difficult to find cloth-covered wire anymore. Yeah, back in the 50s, everything was, every kind of wire, but now, with all of the safety agencies and things like that, this kind of wire has been outlawed in almost any kind of application where there's any current at all going through the wire. Because again, it can't take the heat and all that. Something like this application doesn't matter. The signal is so low. But again, there are guys that swear they can hear the difference between plastic-coated wire and cloth-covered wire. Don't argue. Don't argue. God love them. They're wonderful people. So between the noiseless pickups that we make in our other area down here, we have between 65 and 70 different pickups that we make. Strat pickups, belly pickups, bass pickups. We make things like that that big humbucker that goes into the 72 Telly that we get out of Mexico. We'll make that up here. So again, a lot of variety. You know, some we make thousands a day, some we might make, you know, 100 a month. So once it's done here, the machine here is where we magnetize the magnets. Up until this point, the pickups aren't magnetized. I mean, because we buy them in, you know, again, thousands of pickups, I mean, magnets at a time. If they were magnetized, just trying to get them apart would be a bit of a chore. So it takes about 10 to 15 seconds to magnetize a pickup. And then from there, it goes into the hot wax, where all the pickups are potted.
Next, something. Do the ladies know how to make all kinds of pickups?
Yes.
Or just one?
Oh no, pretty much everybody. A lot of these people, again, have been doing this for a long time. So certain people tend to do certain jobs, but you know, if that lady's on vacation, there's two others that can do that thing. You know, or she says, hey, you know, my arms are tired. Can I do something else today? No problem. Yeah. So again, this is for the wax. So it's not only hot wax, but the machine here draws a vacuum. The idea is you want to get the wax not just on the outside, but go all the way into the core of the pickup. That's where you help cut down on microphonics and things like that in the pickup. Especially Telecaster pickups can be very susceptible to being microphonic. And as we go down here, you'll see them starting to work on different assemblies, control assemblies, pickup assemblies for different models. So in here they'll get all of the guitar electronics ready to go. So that the first department that we went into, the final assembly department, when they go to build the guitar, and they go to build the Stratocaster, they get this. It's everything all ready to go. The people building the guitar aren't running around looking for a ground wire, a capacitor, a knob, something like that. They get a complete assembly, all wired, tested, and ready to go. But also I was talking about some of the unique things you can only get on a Fender guitar. This is one of the new deluxe pickguard assemblies. This is what the S1 switch looks like. Wait, come on a little bit closer. Where you've got, again, it looks real simple here from the top. You've got your nice little button right there. But now you turn it over, here's your regular control element, the volume control element right here. But what we did is we designed the switch in this little circuit board here on the back. So now we can take this idea and by hooking the wires up in different combinations, this is how we're able to do it. Now, this was designed by one of our engineers. And because we buy so many of these, we can go to the supplier of these controls and say, hey, look, we want to buy 50,000 of these things. And he's, oh, okay. Even though by electronic standards, we're still a, moderate player at best compared to, say, Toshiba or Sony or something like that. But we buy enough and they charge us accordingly, so it all works out real well. But again, a unique part you can only get on a Fender guitar, the S1 switch. And we've also incorporated this into Kellys, into jazz bass, and T-bass, using it in a lot of different applications. Something else, this 5-way pickup selector. We've been using this one for a few years. The normal one you'd find, let's say in an American series or one of the Mexico guitars or any, just has one set of connectors on it. Well, we went to our vendor and said, look, we want to be able to do some additional switching without putting a lot of stuff here on the front of the guitar. So we came up with the design. Now we've got a 5-way switch that's got 2 rows of connectors. So again, it just gives us more opportunity to do unique things because our customers, what we found, they want the versatility, but they don't want to buy a guitar with a bunch of buttons, switches, stuff like that, because it affects how the guitar looks cosmetically. Now, if you go buy, a Tom Anderson or an ESP or something like that, that's different. That's a whole other guitar. But if you're buying a Fender Stratocaster, we wanted to keep the cosmetics exactly like they were originally. So here we've been able to add this switching, the unique switching here. To the customer, it looks really simple. But now when you look at the back of it, wow, there's a lot going on. Under there's a lot of things that we do. I mean, when you say technology in our business, everybody, they think of Yamaha roller, black and white, programmable this. Fender's got a lot of really cool technology. You don't see people over the hedges. The fact that we still make a breather is kind of a cool technology that most people don't even bother with anymore. The fact that we can make a 1200 watt bass amp that only weighs 40 pounds, that's some pretty impressive technology. So we have technology that's a little bit different, a little bit, not quite as high tech, but it's still pretty sophisticated for what we're trying to sell. Okay. Okay, now, the next area we're going to go into is the custom shop. This first area in here, these are our master builders. These are the guys in the master builders that do all the real unique, one-of-a-kind products. Each of their guys has an area here, mainly for final assembly. Most of the master builders have an apprentice that they work with that'll do some of the things like the sanding and all, some of those things. And then we'll go out into our woodworking area, and you can see that we've consolidated a lot of the raw woodworking for all the departments. Jackson, Custom Shop, Fender. So again, as you walk through here, you kind of never know what you're going to see. Here's a very nice piece, a gold leaf Clapton Strat. Wow. For the man who has everything. We did one of these about 3 years ago for Eric. He got a wild idea. He had to have a gold leaf Strat. And there are certain artists that we will do kind of whatever they want. Back when we were in the old building, Eric had bought a new Mercedes. This was like 98, 97, something like that. That was a new Mercedes color, kind of a dark blue. Well, he wanted a guitar that color. So they arranged to actually get a quart of paint from Mercedes. We got this can of paint the German word was so long it wrapped around the can. It was a small can. But so we painted the guitar for Eric. He gets a guitar. First thing he does, he doesn't play it. He goes outside and holds it next to his car.
Oh, yeah.
His comment was, brilliant. So, oh, great. So, next he wants a gold leaf guitar. Oh, my God. All right. So, we make one. Give it to Eric. We find out he has, he's playing like 4 or 5 shows in Japan. Goes to Japan, takes practically no equipment with him. Takes 2 guitars. His black one that he's going to play, and for some reason he took this gold one. Because with Eric, the guitar he likes best is always the newest one. Whatever the new one is, that's his favorite. So he took the gold one. While he was over there, he got a gig doing a magazine ad. And there's a big thing in Japan where celebrities go over and get paid an incredible amount of money just for a photograph. Like, here, hold these sunglasses or wear these shoes. It might be, $50,000, $100,000 for 1 hour. So it was one of those kind of things. So Eric goes over, takes the gold guitar with him to the photo shoot. And the photo was, again, for like a fashion. It was like a shirt or sunglasses, something like that, only in the Japanese magazines. The Japanese magazine comes out. Here's Clapton with the gold strap. Our customer in Japan freaked out, ordered 40 of these. This guitar has $350 worth of gold on it, the gold leaf. When we did the first ones, the wholesale price to our customer in Japan was $7,500 wholesale. Before currency, going to Japan, and all that. So we figured that was about a $20,000 guitar, and they 40 of them. And they wanted. So since then, the people in Europe have bought some. The guys at Guitar Center have bought some, and it's it's funny when you watch the guys do it. I mean, the littlest piece falls on the floor. They're very careful when they sweep up after doing a gold leaf guitar. So since the one that we made, we've probably done about 100 of them. So people always ask, is it really worth it to make a guitar to give to Eric Clapton? Yes. Yes, it is definitely worth that. So let's see what else we can find. Again, a lot of the stuff the guys are working on has already gone off to the show. This is John English's area. Here's a telly that he's working on. We had taken orders on all of them.
Has reportedly asked for an arbitration
31st. So we're trying to get all of this done by the end of February or the middle of March. On that. So Custom Shop still have some more of these to do. So does the main factory. We're working on some of the Gretsch guitars. Again, that's that binding I showed you. They were going to work on out in the metal shop. That's what it looks like on the guitar. It really is for the man who has everything. You have to have a white Falcon or 2. Let's see. This is John Cruz, who is one of our master builders, and John is the guy responsible for all the SRV tribute guitars. John does all of the work on these by hand. That will be at the show?
I'm pushing for it. Now it's
all right.
9 o'clock.
Man, that's beautiful. Wow.
Oh, gold leaf. Pamelina.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
In the back, you can see the gold leaf
Yeah, that's that same gold leaf, but we've actually done a few things where we spray a color over it. That's like the ultimate candy apple red.
Yeah. See the flame, heavily flame
Ooh.
back years on it.
So you can see John is a talented guy. He can make guitars that look like that. He can also make them look like this.
Drag him around the parking lot a few times.
Yeah. But what's really wild is when we're working, he'll do what, maybe 10 a month?
Right now it's about 6 to 7 a month.
Yeah. But lots of times they'll all be done about the same time. You walk in, here's a whole rack of all of these. 6 or 7 of these all sitting right next to each other. But the amount of research that we did on all of these to really make sure that they are, cosmetically, historically correct, all of that. A lot of work went into all of the little details, the signature, making sure the little corner of the custom sticker is pulled up because that's how the original one was. They actually, went to great lengths to know how much of wood was actually missing out of here. Let's see. Hi there.
Steve Grom.
All your good stuff's gone?
Everything's gone.
Oh, well.
I was smart. I finished on time.
Good boy. Nice job. All right, we'll go back this way. This is not
Be on Broadway, I'm sure, of these.
Who's it take the music out?
I can't wait to see them.
So you may see that sometimes before, when they said to Donald Trump they're considering making
So the area in here is where we do all the final assembly of the team built custom shop products. So all of the Time Machine guitars, the custom team built things are all done in here. In it. Showmaster. Set neck ones. Yeah. But the bulk of what gets done really over in this department are, all of the Time Machine, the relics, the closet classics. So here's a kind of a unique one, an Ash Esquire, but in a trans red. Now, whether they ever did one of these originally, who knows? Because, unfortunately, a lot of historical records that Fender has, the records were kept by accountants. Now, is anyone here an accountant? Okay. Well, see, accountants, all they care about is money, right? So they keep track of everything in currency, dollars. They'll tell you how many dollars we sold of a certain thing, but they didn't care how many units that was. So we might know, okay, well, in a particular year we sold, $2 million worth of Telecasters, but it doesn't really tell us how many that was. So we don't have very accurate records to know back in the 60s. There was that period of time where Fender had one color. The one stock color was sunburst. Any other color was a custom color. Black, white, red, all that. So we don't really know. So, some of these relics we've made, we probably made more relics than they originally made. me an example. My cousin has an original when he bought it. When he was a kid, he has a 1968 Telecaster. And it's left-handed, and it's late plastic blue. So I brought it in for the guys here to take a look at, and we were trying to guess how many left-handed late plastic blue Telecasters did they make in 1968. I mean, he's even got the receipt from the store where he bought it and all thing. He said, you know what, that might be the only one. Maybe they made 2, maybe they made 5. But unfortunately, we don't know. I know the guys at Gibson were much better at keeping records like that. Their production records tended to have ours. Well, I think a lot of it went back to Leo. Leo didn't care about it. He only cared about today and tomorrow. If it already happened, it already happened. He didn't realize he was, you know, creating incredibly valuable instruments back then. He was just on to whatever the next thing was. So again, there's a nice little array of some relics here, some Fiesta Reds. Here's just a real nice Esquire. One of the Jimmy Bryant Telecasters with the leather engraved pickguard on there. You know, and again, a great thing about any of the vintage type of things we do, we've got this incredible talent to go use this, don't use this, this is great for a couple of years, don't do something else. You know, everything from Burgundy Mist, Fiesta Red, Surf Green, the Desert Sand, the different gold, all of that stuff are real nice things that we can always go back to whenever we need something a little bit different. So all of the custom shop guitars have pickups that are wound down here. They have their own pickup winding area, similar to what you saw over in the other area, but they have a much bigger variety of vintage style pickups. So we make one basic vintage strap pickup for a 62 and 57 here. You've got 6 different vintage strap pickups. Pick and choose and get whatever you want on that. In the back, I don't know, come on back, sit there doing any of So here's where we age everything. So some of the metal parts, they'll actually put them in this this machine down here, those little rocks, and things go in there. We can makes them look old, takes the shine off of everything. Here he's working on the necks, some of the wear on the necks. He'll start with a little Dremel, a little brush on it, and that starts getting some of it off. But then here's some of the these are some of the high-tech tools that we use to put the dents in everything. Millions of dollars of research went into finding just this right combination of buckles. Yeah, here's almost like a cheese grater. All the tools, but and this is the kind of the magic sauce. That once we take the paint off the wood, we put this on it that make it look old and dirty. But you know, especially with the maple, see when he takes the paint off, see how white the wood is? If we left it like that, it'd look really stupid. Because in a real guitar, it's got dirt and oil and smoke and beer and everything kind of ground into it. Well, that's what's in that jar. I don't think we're quite sure what this is, but this is
Pop in a bottle.
yeah, this is the secret sauce.
Yeah, you better not to know.
Which we've also discovered you can put it on pork and it's not bad.
There you go.
Oh yeah, the Jocko. And then when they crack the finish on the relics, what they'll do is they'll get the bodies warm. we have a small oven. Heat them up a little bit, or sometimes we use a heat gun, and then they use this spray. Yeah, and it just. Also, they take the Relics and the Closet Classics and use a little bit different lacquer formula on those, what they call airplane lacquer. It dries real hard, but it's brittle. We normally wouldn't use it as the regular formula for a guitar because as soon as the wood would move a little bit, the paint would crack. But for what we want for this, it's perfect. Yeah. So we get it a little bit warm, and then by hitting it with that spray, which is cold, that's how we get the cracking and some of that discoloration on it. So it's been a long process to figure out how to do it, but you'd be surprised at how much labor goes back into it. Once because a body starts off as a brand new, beautifully painted body, and then we begin to destroy it because it's the only way to make it look authentic. Because that's how the guitar started originally. So okay, we'll head on back this way. We had a guy on the outside. Right. There's this guy. Part of it was
That's last time I came through.
well, one of it was it allows us to go back and use the old style lacquer. When we first started doing the Relics, we didn't have a paint system sophisticated enough where our permits would allow us to paint the lacquer. So the guy we had doing it, he was in somewhere in the Midwest. I want to say Indiana or something. And that's been a huge, because again, now we have more control over that. Okay, onward. We got everybody? All right. Woodworking area. So here's how a neck starts. This is an 1.25 inch piece of maple that we would use to make a solid maple neck out of. If we're going to do a neck that has a fingerboard, rosewood fingerboard on it, this piece would start out only 1 inch thick. All of this wood comes out of the northeastern part of the United States and the southeastern part of Canada. This is what they call Eastern Rock maple, and it's the little bit lighter brown. This is called Pal Faro. We use this on 5-string basses and then a lot of the Mexico guitars. Pal Faro is in the rosewood family, but a little bit different species. When we were over in the metal shop, we cut a slot in the neck, but the slot isn't straight. It actually has got an arc to it. So does the truss rod. It fits it just like that. You know, this will adjust up here. And then from here, they put the walnut piece in the back. Then we also make some truss rods that go in from the top, where they'll cut a slot, but the truss rod is in the fingerboard goes over the front. One is really integrated. Different style, different way of doing the same thing. So here they're putting the walnut strip in the back, what we call the skunk stripe. They hand fit everyone in there to make sure it's really tight. So they actually have to put that thing in with a hammer. We want to make sure. They also use glue, but we want to make sure it's a good tight mechanical fit. Also in the back, all of our reference samples. One of the deluxe or American series bases. It has the graphite rods in it for reinforcing. So this gets the truss rod down the middle. And then two graphite rods. these graphite rods that go in there and sit parallel to the truss rod to add some strength to the neck. Because a bass neck is a lot more likely to underbow, backbow, whatever you want to call it, than a guitar neck because of all the strings in it. So by putting these graphite rods in there, we make the neck a little bit stiffer without compromising the sound of it. So we spent a lot of time researching this. This is actually a wooden dowel wrapped in fiberglass. So we tried all kinds of different sizes, shapes, solid fiberglass, solid wood, all kinds of things. And this is what we came up with. This was designed by a company down in San Diego that make graphite golf club shafts. About a machine like this. The shape on the back of the neck. The machines along here now start working on the fretboard. They put the radius on the fretboard. And the machine here has got 3 different grits of sandpaper to sand that smooth. They can feel how nice and smooth they get that. You know, it flattens out the face dots. Now it's ready to have the frets put in. Machines along here cut the fret slots. Pretty simple. So it cuts all the slots for the frets and the slot for the bone nut all at once. Here they're putting the frets. So this is what the fret wire looks like once it's cut. They'll put a little bit of glue down in the bottom of the slot, not really to glue the fret in. We just want to make sure that the bottom of this fret has something to sort of bottom out against. We really want the fret to be held in place by these little barbs right along there. And this is what I was talking about. We put them in oversized, like this, and then just clip the end of them off. It's a whole lot faster to do it this way. but we put them in all by hand. Again, we've tried over the years. We had some machines to try to do it. They were just too slow. The ladies that do it go through pretty fast. Now this is an American series neck, but this is how the neck at this point is where they go down to the factory in Mexico. So even a guitar that you get that says made in Mexico on it, this much the neck has all been done up here. So the same basic raw material, tooling, machinery, equipment that's done on the American stuff is all done on a Mexico neck also. So when it goes down to Mexico, all they're going to do is the final sanding, painting, and assembly. Part of it is you saw how many different steps. There's 47 different steps the neck has to go through. Trying to duplicate that in another factory is going to be expensive. Doing the bodies is a lot easier. They're doing their bodies. So this much of a neck for Mexico will get done up here. This is one of the new machines I was talking about that we just brought in. That's going to be set up to do body routing. In fact, they're still working on it. We're not going to go down there. But we actually had to cut another door in one of our walls to get that machine in. We didn't have an opening big enough in the building to get that in. So that should be up and running in about a week or 10 days. But with a machine like that, we can cut out an entire body. The body's over here. When it comes off of a machine like that, it takes that block of wood that I showed you when we first walked in and does all of this. It does all of the outside and all of the inside routing. Yep. No, I'm sorry, that's a separate operation. They do that. And then the machine he's got right here is where we do the contours. That cuts that. But the bodies are much simpler to do than the necks from a woodworking standpoint. When it comes to painting, it's a whole different scene. On the front of that. Jackson and custom shop. And everything in here, all done by hand. On both the necks and the body. For example, the guy over here, if you watch him, he sands a little bit and then he measures. A lot of the real critical dimensions that we hold are done literally by hand. The machines make a rough cut, but some of the very critical dimensions, again, he'll sand a little bit, measure it, sand a little bit more. Because the tolerances that we have on all of our drawings are plus or minus 1/10,000th of an inch. So in woodworking, that's pretty unheard of. And a lot of times the only way to do it is literally by hand, like that. He's working on binding. That's one of the Telecasters over there. year ago. And that's actually been a pretty smooth transition. Again, very similar product, kind of like I showed you with like the SWR amps coming in, very similar. Jackson and Charvel, very similar to what we do. So we've got a Jackson team, we've got a custom shop team, we've got a Fender production team. They each really work on their own products every day. Paint department, and again, we don't normally take people through there, but about 30% of the cost of this entire facility was the paint operation. And that was, the painting was probably the one thing that motivated the company to build this factory, because of all the problems we have being in Southern California. This has got the most strict pollution laws in terms of air quality, probably of any place in the world. Because the air in Southern California is really bad. I mean, you know, when you come out this time of year, it's great. Out here in September, in August, when it's hot, the smog and everything out, it was pretty bad. So we have U.S. government regulations. We have regulations for the state of California, but we also have a local air quality agency just for Southern California. So we have to meet all of those standards. One tries to get a little bit more difficult. So the permits that we have for this facility show that we clean and purify and remove 98% of all the pollution out of the air that we release. So it's allowed us, because of the sophistication of the system, to go back and use the old style nitrocellulose lacquer. Early 90s, lacquer like that had been outlawed in California. Nobody used it for anything. But the pollution control equipment has gotten so much better that now we're able to use that. In fact, we're going to be able to go back and use a urethane formula on the American series and the Deluxe series that we had to stop using, I think, in 1994.
That'll be good.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, the urethane that we have to use here, we're the only guitar company in the world that uses it. Everybody else uses this other formula because they're not in Southern California. Part of our problem isn't so much what we paint, it's the quantity. All of the permits you get are based on how much you use. We're painting almost 600 guitar bodies every day. An example, G&L guitars, they're not very far from here. They paint 30. So just the sheer amount of paint that we use is staggering compared to everybody else. So it's a pretty sophisticated, state-of-the-art system. We're going to go through a department where they sand the undercoat. The painted bodies go through 3 stages. A clear undercoat, which is a polyester material, they sand that smooth, color coat, and then the clear top coat. So the area we're going to go through there is what we call our intermediate sanding level. The bodies go through several different stages. In fact, they're moving around all the time. Between the undercoat, that has to be sanded, the color, that has to dry, the top coat, sometimes they'll sand in between the color coats. So things are, you'll see some that are painted, some that are unpainted. Things are moving around all the time as part of the paint process. So this is what one of the bodies looks like after it's had the polyester undercoat and been sanded. So now you can feel we've got a real hard, smooth surface. This is what we put the color on. It's one of the ways we get that really nice, deep finish. The only exception to this are things like the time machine guitars in the custom guitar. A lot of those are painted the old-fashioned way, where they take the raw body and use just a lacquer sealer on it. Now those bodies, that's great, but the finish isn't going to look as good as long. You're going to get a lot of the paint sinking into the grain of the wood. Because all of this wood, the grain has hard spots, soft spots, and as soon as you put paint on it, if it's fairly thin, it's going to start sinking in, and as that gets older, the paint literally starts to shrink and sink back in. So some people like that idea on a vintage style guitar to kind of, see the paint aging. A lot of people who are buying a brand new guitar, I mean, they want it, to look primo, and they want it to look good, not just for 6 months, they want it to look good literally the life of the instrument. So that's pretty much what we can guarantee on that. Things I didn't show you, but you can kind of see the evidence in here. You can get an idea. This is a pretty dirty job working in here with all of this dust and everything. But you notice that it's really not too bad. It's all of this piping, everything in here. This is our dust collection. Outside we have a tremendous amount of equipment that again pulls out all of the sawdust and everything out of all of these departments. So it's why we take things like, Jackson, Custom Shop, all of the production, and, all of the woodworking gets done in one area. Because that's where all the equipment is. It's got all the electricity and the dust lines, all of that is in one area. All of the body the body over there. Again, same process. So we do all of the similar things in certain areas to take advantage of the infrastructure of the whole building. Because again, this building was built specifically for Fender for making guitars. So we thought out all of the different departments, and especially we wanted to take a department like this. It's very dusty and very dirty, but it's also part of the paint department. We have to isolate it. So through there is the paint department. There's 4 different doors you have to go through to try to keep any of the dust here from getting in there.